Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. We're going to be talking about the Pillage. We'll change the Pillage, and we're going to be talking about the Atomic Punisher. And let's say hello to everybody. Kenny,
Hello, hello.
Magic Mike,
Howdy do.
Ben,
Hello, everyone.
and Derpy.
I'm underwhelmed
by by what?
by the new things. Talk about it.
What?
By the new things. By the flag. That's coming up
Okay.
later.
Yeah. It's
It's a
sort of.
teaser.
Yeah, well, well, we'll get to that. I'm still curious if there's going to be some things in the U2 heavy. Well, it's a heavy launcher, which we'll get to later. But yeah, that may have something interesting in it. And but let's get started. All right, fixed issue where composite walls were stackable. They're no longer able to be stacked. Does this mean that they also fixed the problem with the normal walls being stackable?
I believe they had fixed that problem where you could not stack them,
Okay.
but if you had them stacked before the fix, as long as you didn't move them, they stayed stacked.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, so probably the same issue exists with the composite walls that if you had them stacked beforehand, you can keep them stacked. So, yeah, I don't know how they fix that besides historically what they would do, it was not allow you to launch until you fix they would run some sort of query, figure out if there was irregularities with the base and tell you, you can't launch any ships until you fix this problem. But so I don't know if they were around for that because they did that multiple times throughout history. So fixed a visual bug which offset base turrets firing arcs. Okay. Anybody had any issues with that or know what it means?
No.
Okay. And sadly, outpost and dock repair settings will change back to normal after the 10.10 patch is released.
This doesn't mean what I think it means.
I'm afraid you might be wrong there.
Yeah. So now,
Welcome. Okay.
yeah. So it's probably less of a problem for players that have their outpost already upgraded because the dock starts to auto repair. It has less of a less time, but basically means this is going to interrupt your upgrades of your outpost and dock more than we've seen before because it wasn't really a bounty thing from what I can tell. It was more of an update thing that lasted the whole last week. Your outpost and dock would automatically start to repair with a repair time of 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So
As a PvE player, I loved it because I could get hit and then just go about my business. And I don't care if I got hit. The guy got a whole bunch of res. He took a bunch of medals. I don't give a crap. I could keep playing my game. Now they go back to the other way. I think that's a mistake.
yeah,
But that's just me. Sorry.
and this is probably the first time for everybody to, if that, I don't know, that has Doc 16 to see if there's a change in repair time versus Doc 15. I don't know if there is a change, but a lot of times when they upgrade these things, you will see a change. Sometimes whether the armor changes or not, because they've sort of removed armor from the whole equation. So years ago, back. So anybody know that answer or?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Okay. Alrighty. Right now we're in March Pillage. Next week is Vengeance. We're gonna have a 3-week FM cycle after that, and the art showcase, and never mind. Bounty 30, CM Diary, monthly check-in. That's the survey. In regards to Vengeance, one more click. I asked Julie if it's and what the name was, when we're going to get the U2 related heavy weapon, and it's we're going to get it during Vengeance, and it's going to be the drag heavy thrower. So it will not be which will be interesting. I'm just hoping it throws some other things at us. Something interesting, because as Derpy mentioned earlier, it's sort of boring what we have going on right now. As far as the flag, but we'll get to the flag in a minute. Any thoughts on the calendar, anybody? And Mike, are you happy I changed it to 3/2020?
I noticed you did that last time. I didn't say anything about it.
Well, it was 2/2020.
2020, but it still had 31 days. So.
Okay. Alrighty. All right. I'm sorry, Derpy. Go ahead.
I do have a thought on that thrower. If anyone has a Dragoon built on U2, I think you can see it inside the game.
Okay.
Someone has a phone call. I think if anyone has a U2 Dragoon and they go to their shipyard and design mode and click on their upgrade slot, that heavy weapon slot, I think it's already in the game. I think the stats are available.
Okay, let me take a quick look at my. Oh, but I don't have an empty shipyard. If anybody has an empty shipyard,
you can. Oh yeah, that's true, because you need a U2 ship.
Yeah, I can't start it from a brand new ship. So
I have a screenshot of it. That one of the. I think Daniel got that. I could
just send it to me, and I'll. Or you can screen share it either way. You can send it to me, or you can screen share it yourself.
I'll screen share that.
Okay. All right, there it is. Ooh. Okay, there we go. Yeah, nothing. Range in 95, which will get extended by the hull. So it looks useful, but not necessarily exciting.
Pretty large amount of damage.
Yeah. Yeah, a large amount of damage. And oddly, because most of the time the throwers had insane salvo numbers, like 20. But this appears to be single salvo. Yeah, so you can get those numbers down pretty low. So it does look interesting. But not, I was expecting maybe, I don't know. But we'll get to that with the flag. But yeah, I agree with you that it's sort of, as Chuck says, it's lackluster. There's not a lot of originality or excitement associated with the flag. So, but yeah, I could see this being quite useful, just not really sort of simplified, or whatever word you want to use. It's sort of a simplified hull at this point, which a lot of people like, and I'm sure it's easier to design. Okay. And Cuttlefish says like it's Dr. 4G, not drag. So, yes. So, but thanks for that info. And I'm going to go back to Mike. And let's see what we got next, Mike. We got the crowd control TLC. If you don't have your riots done, good time to do it. I highlighted the 24-hour riot upgrade token. Last time this came out, this went in your 2 of 2 stacking, not your, whatever out of 200. So be aware, you need to spend them as you get them if you're running through that mastery round. So just just be aware that you might lose them. Anybody else have any thoughts on crowd control? Okay.
No.
Okay. Let's move to the next one.
Actually, I do have something on that crowd control. If you're using your riots again, like last time, there's some things in there that you can't kill with your torpedoes that you need to use your aft weapons. So if you're having trouble finishing the target in some of the clouds and some of those later encounters, spin around in circles and have your rockets shoot at everything. Otherwise, you'll be sad.
Yeah, use your junk is what Derpy's telling you. So, okay. Let's Cry Havoc. I don't know. Does anybody know where this structure build token goes? And you're only getting one of them, so... Oh, it's 3 mastery runs, even though it's price. Okay, it's confusing the way it's written, but I think this one goes in the same spot.
In the same spot, you mean 2 out of 2?
Yeah.
I think that's my guess, but I'm not sure either way.
And I know a lot of people had difficulty with this one. It said it wasn't worth the prizes. Last time this dropped, about a month ago. I know Aussie did pretty well with it, but I know a lot of people were taking a lot of damage associated with this one. Because you need to have the max upgraded breachers and things like that in order for this to work for you.
In my game there, I'm seeing that the price pack 4, the mastery round, is you can repeat it 5 times.
Okay.
As opposed to the 3 on the slide. Yeah,
I took this from the last time, so they increased it to 5. I didn't want to redo the whole thing. So this is from last time. So I guess they did upgrade it to 5 times the mastery run. So, but people had Warhounds last time, and they weren't performing from what I could. I didn't try it. So
I watched 2 of them die in the second round of the first level.
Yeah,
they don't do well.
Yeah, it's not a aim at the back of the base type of targets with these, as far as from what I've seen. But again, I have not tried this target. Okay. And unless anybody has anything on that, we'll go to Pillage. And I don't even know what number Pillage. They don't number Pillage, but been going on for a while. We've had some changes, and I'm getting feedback from somebody. Okay. I'm not sure who, but it stopped. Thank goodness. They don't number Pillage, but we do have a change in this Pillage. We have gone to Pegasus and Praetorians, and so we're getting a new target, which it's not a new target, I don't think. I think it's a target I never hit before because I was hitting the 904, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's we have the 129, 128 for the Pegasus, the War Pegasus, and what was the Pegasus TLC that we just had?
Tides of March? No.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, was it Tides of March? Yeah, that it was so. I only did one, not because of the damage, but just the ships appeared to be so slow, and it was just laborious to do. Did anybody else have? I actually brought my after I hit the first target. I brought them all back to my dock, made sure I hadn't removed an engine, or somehow an engine had been removed from one of mine, and the sync drives were slowing them all down. It was just ridiculously slow to hit the ships and hitting that target, which made the whole thing a little bit laborious.
I do remember them being pretty slow around last time. It's almost like they changed in that particular target. Maybe it's just because the ships are so, the size of the ships, and then the targets are so large.
It could be. It's just, they take, it was taking me like 8 to 10 minutes to target, and then you have to do all the, I was just over it. Have you seen that the Assault 129? It was I right, Derp? Because the only time I saw a target that was similar was you hitting one on the show.
Yeah, let me peek one. I'm peeking one in a second. It's
Whoa,
probably
whoa.
a repeat.
Well, I think the next slide is the actual picture of the target. Let's see.
Yeah, that was. Oh, this is. Yeah, that's the one. It's the old. I think it's the 134. You could auto it, or it was able to be autoed.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna take a bit more damage on this than you are on the other ones.
Yeah.
You can auto this one with all those ships that come in?
Yes, because it's the auto damage thing. It's like it's the one that you do have an option to auto it because there's the ships are hard, yeah, but there's none of those fog cutter missiles, none of those big red missiles that shoot that in this entire thing.
Okay.
So if you auto it, and if you can even just kill the ships and then auto the turrets if you want as a sort of semi half auto.
Yeah.
Okay. And at this point in time, has anybody hit? You haven't hit this time around, Derpy. Has anybody hit them this time around? And
I hit this one, and it
Okay.
took me 58 minutes damage driving the best I could.
Yeah,
Okay.
in the December 2019 raid, this was the level Eternal Fire. This was the level 134 target, and my best run wasn't better than. I think my best run that raid series, I had it at with half repair was 38 minutes. So I'd take about an hour or 15 minutes damage best run on these targets, I'd guess.
But
Well-
were you okay? Go ahead.
They changed it then because this target, I've done 2 of them. First one I drove horrible in, and I took 35 minutes damage, I think.
Okay.
Second one I did, driving more careful, picking it apart, all in one hit. 19 minutes damage. If you wait, the fleet will come out, so you got room to fight it, and you're not fighting all the turrets too.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to run through that? Do you want to do that one, Ben, or are you damaged?
I'm damaged. Give me about 10-15 minutes, and I can try.
Okay. So is the damage concentrated on on one ship?
Yes, it's concentrated on my war peg, but
Okay.
I'm on it out front.
Okay. So you're running it as a tank. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
All right.
like when I get it repaired, I'll send it back out and show you.
Okay. So in 10 or 15 minutes, we'll get to that unless anybody wants to hit it earlier. Okay.
I can show how not to hit it.
Well, at least we get, if you want to, we can run through it that way.
That might be good because I think I forgot to start my repair.
I see. Well, we're good at certain things. and
Yeah.
not good at
You can
certain-
get me off screen share and I can start my repair and then come back while he's doing that.
Okay. All right. Well, let him find the target first.
That's fine. I'll wait until you're ready. It just dawns at me that it's like I said, I took 58 minutes to repair, but this old brain doesn't remember starting to repair.
Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, Kenny, if you want to do that, we can get to that. In the meantime, let's see what the next slide looks like, and we can get a little. Okay, there are the first. Well, okay, we have the some of these aren't in the featured. The ones that aren't in the feature are the Onslaught engine, which is the preferred Conqueror Defender engine. Well, only Defender if you're going to be running Carnages. They've been very stingy with them recently, but they're releasing 10 of them at this point at 15K. I'm starting at the bottom. The Antipode Launcher D99U. This will be your first opportunity to get all 40. So that means you can fill out your fleet without having to refit to the more standard version with the lower initial damage, but same shockwave damage. I'm not going to talk about the build token yet, but as you see, it's 60,000 for the flag. We're going to get to the V42 rock block engine. I'm not sure the origin of that name, but I think they changed it in the briefing. It's you can get up to 130 Atomic Punisher upgrade kits. In the briefing yesterday when it dropped, and earlier today, you could get 400, which confused me, but they changed that. And you get enough VXP tokens, I assume, to get your large. Usually have a 50K, so you can. It's like expensive. And you can get Warhounds. Oh, and then the Golden Eagle rockets for the Praetorian. Again, really expensive. And then even more expensive is a 2-day build token for 70,000 points. There's a lot of asks here. The points seem really high for a pillage. This more seems raid-like. We only have 4 days. But if the targets are easy enough, and as far as damage and time, I guess it's doable, but does it seem to anybody that's used to looking at this seems like an ask for a lot of points, a huge amount of points.
Yeah, more than
it does
any
look like
previous one. And they're all desirable. It's not like you want to give up any of them.
Well, you got to have the top 2.
Well, not necessarily. We'll talk about that. I'm sure you have a side-to-side engine comparison here.
Oh,
yes,
good.
Yes. Yeah, I also have a side-to-side Punisher versus Flag comparison as well. So, Kenny, are you getting close, or should we go ahead and show those things?
Go ahead and show it, because I'm having trouble with the locators showing me something underneath the base, and I can't even see the target trying to point me at.
And I was able to start to repair on the app, so we're okay.
Okay, all right. Let's move on then.
Not that anybody cares.
Okay, it's okay. If you go to the bottom of the prize, it has where you can get the 10x40 upgrade kits for along with the 10x13. So I don't know why they're keeping them in there. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why we need 530 of these. Since to get to U3, you need 130. You need 210 in order to get to X1. So that's what Cuttlefish followed up with that. But yeah, it's
so if you claim more than 210 upgrade kits, it's a stupid tax.
Or they're gonna drop a second flag.
Nah.
I don't know. I mean,
if you want to upgrade your second flagship, sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go through the difference between the flagship, which is on the left, and the normal ship, which is on the right. We see over a 50% increase in base armor points. So this is still going to have the same repair time. So this is very effective as far as being a tank, a separate tank driven ahead. Also, we see a 5,000 increase in ballistic and radioactive survival. Also doing the same thing. And the other difference is the increased survival aura, which impacts all the ships as long as you stay within the 40 range. Has a 7-day, 4-hour build time for the Bear Hall, as long as you have, R&D and everything I have. So it may be probably as base of 8 days if you don't have any of that stuff, is my guess. So, and Cuttlefish does like the stupid tax, idea. So, I don't know. Are you inspired by this Derpy? I know didn't sound that.
Well, it looks okay. There's nothing great. It is a boost. Definitely is a boost to your as a flag, rather than running 5. But we knew that. It's just not very new, not very fun. Like, sure, your survival's a bit higher, your armor's a bit higher, which means that it's a better tank. We'll come back to that in a minute. But it doesn't have any more different specials, weapons. It has the same number of heavy weapon slots, doesn't it?
Yeah, they both have one.
Yeah, so that's not very exciting. It doesn't add a special extra effect. Just increases the effect that's already in there. So it's better, but it's just as better in terms of it has higher numbers. It's not fun. With that higher number stuff, you're saying it makes a better tank if you drive it ahead separate, and I agree. But also, we're seeing with the War Pegasus and with the Dragoon, if you drive them in targets now completely stacked, your flagship gets focused anyway. So even if you drive this stacked, this will take more of your accuracy-based damage, and that's what most of the stuff in this raid is. So even if you drive it stacked, you still benefit from having it as a tank.
Yes, I would normally I agree with that. And the thing I noticed in the VXP target was that my first ship wasn't getting targeted.
Really? That's interesting.
And I think other people, Mike, you saw that same thing as well, right? If you recall.
Is
anybody
I
else
don't recall.
I was getting like ships,
I can't look.
2 and 4 were taking way more damage than my first ship, and maybe it was the way it was outfitted. Maybe it was, but I didn't put evade on any of them, and I was running them stacked in the VXP target, and I was also running them with my Dragoons, and my Dragoons were taking additional damage not on the flag, but on the huge amounts of huge disparity. Like my flag would have like 5 minutes of damage, and then my second ship was almost dead. So that's what I was seeing when I was hitting these targets, and maybe they've changed something.
I don't know if they've changed anything. I've asked what's going to be targeted, and I haven't gotten an answer. But if it's like 2 and 4, or it's an even spread, this won't make a good tank if you drive stacked. So you'll need to either buff the combat speed a little tiny bit. I don't remember if it was Daniel or Cuttlefish that had that idea with that engine, or just drive it ahead.
Yeah. I mean, because there's not splash. Is there splash on any of these that we've seen so far?
There's splash on that big flamethrower, but you should be able to avoid that easily.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't need to be that far ahead if you are ahead at all. And I prefer to actually have them all at the same speed, even if I'm running that way, because that becomes a bigger and bigger gap as it goes through. So I just rather set it up at the beginning than have that that gap between my tank and the rest of the ships just get larger and larger. But yeah, it's going to get tricky with the engine, which the engine was also not. Anything more on the Atomic Punisher? There is a little bit difference in the upgrades. The only actual difference is, though, it's like, I think, a 10% increase at U3 on radioactive damage. I think the regular ships are 50 and this one's 60 or something of that nature. Otherwise, they're the same. Some of the stats may look slightly different because of the higher survival you start out with. So you'll see different percentages associated with what's added. So, the abilities seem to be boring. Yeah, it's yeah. So, and one thing that you might want to talk about, Derpy, we mentioned earlier today, because you put a video out associated with what your observations were associated with the VXP target, and you call them the oil slicks, and they look like the oil slicks because they keep repurposing old artwork. But I think what we were seeing was the biofuel fields that we see as a special ability for both of these ships that are spawned by the torpedo towers, or what look like torpedo towers, with the increase in combat speed, radioactive damage, reload, turn speed. Is there any thoughts that you have on? No, we're not there, Mike. Mike? I don't have an issue. We'll go to the next. Okay. All right. I see. Okay. Any thoughts on that at this point, Derpy?
Well, yeah, like you said, the biofuel zones, it's a sort of way to make it so you have to have a ship with this ability. So next year when we have the new seed ship, it won't be tons better than this one. It's a way to sort of prevent power creep. But
yeah, but it also looks like, despite like this 100% combat speed boost and whatnot, you are going to slow down in these fields. But even though you're slowed down, you are seeing a 100% reload, and I think 50 or 75% damage. I don't know. We're not on that slide anymore, but
I can go back.
Okay.
I got a little problem. My wife is going to do this, so just she's not going to say anything. So just tell her when you want to slide. And I'll tell her.
Okay. Yeah, it's 75% reload damage and 100% reload. So that's the change that we see, but we assume that the biofuel, and I think you've gotten confirmation, Derpy, that the biofuel fields are what we're used to as the oil slick.
Yep, that's about right.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, let's move on to the engines. And next slide.
Good job, Patty.
We have the V42 rock block engine with a 20-hour build time. The sync drives and the Scorcher turbine have a shorter build time. I'm a little personally, prior to this coming out, my thought is I'm going to put Scorcher turbine on my normal ships, and I was going to put ballistic or radioactive sync drive on my flag, and then run it out slightly ahead, and try and increase the evade associated with that ship. Because the radioactive sync drive will match the speed of the slowest one, and the Scorcher turbine will be slightly slower, so I'll be running at that speed. This engine doesn't really change my mind that much, unless anybody else has anything that makes you think it would.
I still sort of want to go with the build that has a really high evade on that front flagship.
Yeah. And so you could use either the ballistic or radioactive sync drive, or the rock, but that one would keep you could put the ship ahead, and it would stay ahead, as opposed to the rock block engine would continue to creep and get a little bit further ahead the further you went along, right? And some of these targets, or some of these turrets, you have to sort of skim along the, just sort of a very small barrier, as far as when the radioactive ones, the ones that are in the coaxial turrets, that'll increase damage once you go inside of a certain range.
Yes, you can't go too far ahead, or you have to go sideways, so it just gets really tricky if you try to run one as a tank.
Yeah. Flag is getting this engine, just not regulars. Cuttlefish, why wouldn't you use the sync drive? Or is it just a build time issue?
I'd say 10%. He said earlier he doesn't want to give up 10% damage for 3200 survival, because survival has diminishing returns, whereas damage has the opposite of that, exponential increasing returns.
Yeah, it is a limited engine. It's limited to 5. Oh, it's you're limited to 5 at this point, but it is a limited engine. Yes. So, but as far as going with like the ballistic or radioactive sync drive, which would match speeds once you're ahead, doesn't the sync drive feel slightly easier to drive, or am I just an old man?
Yeah, it does seem easier to drive.
Yeah. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this with that idea?
I'm not totally sure yet, but I have to make up my mind soon because raid's next week.
Yeah, but if you're only putting it on the, and I hope everybody, took notice last week's show when it said save all your FM tokens from last week and this week for the flag, and then use your Punisher tokens that you got in the TLC to finish the normal ones, or get them as far along as possible. Because then you do have a little bit of time to play with. So, okay. Any more engine thoughts? Because I think we're running towards the end of slides, and we can either see Kenny or Ben. Ben's probably repaired at this point as well.
Yep.
So, let's see what the next slide has. I think it might be end of slides. Yep, it is end of slides. So, I don't know. What does everybody want to see? Kenny hitting it for the first time?
Yeah, I'm outside the target, ready to go.
Okay, well, we'll do that. Here we go. And then Ben, be ready, and let's see what the differences are. And I'm going to put you on screen.
It's betting time. All right, here we go. I'm not even going to bet on this one. I'm terrible at driving these ones.
I'm going to guess an hour damage.
He's optimistic.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 47 minutes, 32 seconds.
But don't these ships just look painfully slow?
No? I don't know what you're seeing.
No, not yours in particular, just in general, as far as the Pegasus does feel really...
We got spoiled for a while, simply, but...
it's just like, I'm going to go to the store, and,
Turn too soon. I'm not a great driver at these wing. I'm not good at shooting from the side, I guess.
Oh, don't cut yourself short.
I cut myself badly instead.
Here comes the fun.
Here comes the fun. Do 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 do.
Derpy, that's why I asked you how you could auto this with all those ships coming in at you. Ugh.
There's a lot of them.
But they've set up ways for things to be audible, especially if your ship moved in such a way that the bat wings or whatever you want to call them were aimed towards where the ships were coming from.
I just wish they would aim forwards like everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to shoot where I'm looking or going.
Yeah, but that's part of the fun.
I thought that was what's the right? What's part of the fun? The not knowing is part of the fun.
The unknown, or I forget what Chris's quote was.
That was a great one.
Yeah.
Not knowing is some of the fun. It's like Christmas.
Yeah. All right.
It is kind of a boring target, isn't it?
Well, anything involving the Pegasus is pretty boring. It's just, I don't know. It just feels so slow.
I think it's, yeah.
Side shot is not 2 salvos on his bow. I'm not sure how you change that, or whatever. So and Ben, are you going to be ready soon afterwards?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right.
As usual,
I'm
one of
going
them
to start sharing so I can. Shakir likes the target. So I just, I don't know. It's not as bad as some of the targets where you have to like loop around the whole thing. This one does as conservation of movement. You don't have to move that much in the targets. So your guess was what? Yeah, we got Chuck at 46, and you guessed an hour, right?
I guessed an hour.
Okay, Derpy guessed an hour.
I think it'll be lower than that now.
Okay.
Let's see. I can't change the vote after.
Let's see how your horrible driving did, which is it's gonna be a lot better than you gave yourself credit for.
Yeah.
43 minutes. Is that what that says?
Yeah, 43 minutes.
Okay. Chuck, I think Chuck won that one.
Yeah, he said 45, didn't he?
46, yeah. Yeah. All right, so we'll go over to Ben.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Let me. Sorry, I come on stacked for some reason. It's a little painstakingly slow, but I believe that's the end of the fleet. Yes. So now I can stack back up. And then if you watch, I try to take one turret at a time. That way I'm not fighting, my counters are not getting overwhelmed. So. Hey, baby. Wife just got home. Yay. No guesses on my time?
Oh, yeah. 34 and a half.
28.
Like I said, it takes time. So they're either going to get you with the driving time or the repair time.
I didn't see.
What?
I'm sorry, I pushed the button while I was trying to say something to somebody.
Oh. I just put it on auto for these last few. All right. Let's see. 1% taken, 11 resisted on corrosive. 1 taken, 6 resisted, 81 evaded on pen.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I got the closest one this time. Within 2 minutes.
That's pretty good. You got to compare builds, Ben.
Yeah, 24, 39. So, yeah, I think he won Derpy.
Hey. That doesn't agree with you.
So,
Well, that's where on Price is Right rules.
okay. And what's I'm curious what your repair time is for your flag relative to the rest of them, and then we can, I don't know, do we have much else to talk about? Because I'm assuming all the back ships are instant repair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you only got 2 armors on that one?
You could only put 2 armors on the pegs.
Well, yeah. Mike's special.
Oh,
he's got 4. He's got 4 armors around.
I'm thinking,
Oh, the war peg I got 4.
yeah, never mind. I'm embarrassed now.
Okay, so you got just about 3 minutes of damage on that one. So very good. So it's not
Instant on the rest.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, guys.
Okay. Alrighty.
Looking at pegs, thinking Pratt.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything else we should be discussing at this point?
Oh, and by the way, that was with no crew.
Okay.
Um, I could have probably put a wolf pack on. Might have helped.
Yeah, I forgot what didn't show any evade, right? Or did?
Just on the penetrative. Evade.
Yeah. So sea serpents may work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That
okay.
was the best time I got.
Okay. No, looks good. So I put the link at the right hand side in case anybody would like to join with any additional questions. Otherwise, well, we're 8 minutes shy of the hour, so I don't know. Did we miss something? Personally, I am because I had multiple 7-day tokens lined up from the Choke Point Elite TLC about 3 years ago. I am going to be able to have a full dock weight. So what I do what I do for the upcoming Vengeance raid is probably going to be different from other people. Because I may rely more on shockwaves as opposed to raw damage. And I'm still personally confused as far as what to do with the engines, things like that. But it's not going to hurt you terribly if you have some tokens saved up, anything you're uncertain of. Wait till it's a 6-day raid, wait till that point in time in the raid, wait 6 hours into the raid and see what's going on. And then, use the stuff that you've saved up in order to go ahead and do this, or, maybe even 2 hours in the raid and get it all figured out and then push forward. So I'm not saying I do that all the time, but on this raid, I'm a little bit confused by what they're doing. So I think that's probably what I'm going to be doing, because I have, I think I have 9 days of straight up Punisher tokens, and then I'm saving last FM and this current FM, saving all those tokens for the flag in order to get things done. So I really wish that they had provided the strategy guide earlier on, not doing it, 2 hours before the raid starts or 24 hours before the raid starts. Either way.
That's why Ren and I made ours.
What?
That's why Ren and I made our strategy guides.
Yeah, but yeah. No, yeah. You can make them, but it's things always, you agree that things will change.
Things change in this game, yep, but often a very short notice.
Yes. So, yeah. You both have strategy guides out there, and I've watched yours. It was informative, but I don't know. It's a lack of faith, and are we going to see something? I don't think we're going to see something really different, but are we going to see something where, how this rock, do we run as a tank, or, how do we, what's the best way to accomplish this? I'm still not certain at this point. So
Usual problem.
and Lady Cat's getting flat every 36 hours. So, but you probably get your dock done. I don't know. So, all right. Well, okay. And if there's nothing else, I guess we'll proceed to the after show. And thanks everybody for showing up. We'll be back on Friday when we'll. I don't know if we'll know anymore. We'll get BP next week. I think we got pretty good intel on how to hit the 129, and the 128's been around since I don't know. Magic Mike was 85.
85.
Yeah. So good night, everybody, and we'll see you all on Friday.
See you later.
See ya. See you,
Bye.
people.